has been seen as a result of how people perceive calories, that is, does a person's weight could be predicted by a simple equation. This the key equation penetrates what I call the calorie deception. It is danger precisely because it appears so simple and intuitive. But what you need to understand is the many false assumptions are beyond it. Assumption 1. Calories in and calories out are independent of each other. This assumption is crucial. It's a crucial mistake. As we'll see later on this chapter, experience have proven this assumption false. Calories intake and expenditure are intimately dependent variables. Decreasing calories and triggers a decrease in calories out. A 20% reduction in calories intake result in 20% decrease in calories expenditure. The end result is minimal weight loss. Assumption 2. Basal metabolic rate is stable. We obsess about calories intake. We barely thought about calories expenditure, except for exercise. Measuring calories intake is simple, but measuring the body's total energy expenditure is complicated. Therefore, the simple but completely erroneous assumption is made the energy expenditure remain constantly except for exercise. Total energy expenditure is the sum of basal metabolic rate, thermogenic effect on the food, not just no exercise activity, thermogenicity, except post-exercise oxygen consumption and exercise. The total energy expenditure can you go up and down by as much as 100% depending on upon the calories intake as well as the other factors. Assumption 10. Assumption 3. We exert conscious control over calories in. Eating is a de- deliberate eating is a deliberate act, so we assume that eating is a consumption decision. The hunger plays only in a minor role in. When numerous overlapping normal systems influence the decision of when to eat and when to stop. We constantly decide to eat in response to hunger signs that are largely hormonally mediated. We constantly stop eating when the body sends a sign of satiety, fullness, that are largely hormonally mediated. For example, the smell of frying food make you hungry in lunchtime. However, if you have finished a large buffet, those same smell might make you slightly queasy. These smells are the same decision to eat is not principle hormonal. Our bodies possess an intricate system guiding us to eat or not. Body fat regulation is under atomic control, like breathing. We do not constantly remind ourselves to breathe. No, we remind us hard to beat. The only way to achieve such control is to have hormonal mechanism. Since hormones control both calories in and calories out, obesity is a hormonal, not caloric disorder. Assumption 4. Fat stores are sensation unregulated. Every single system in the body is regulated. Growing in the eyes is regulated by growing hormones. Blood sugar are regulated by the hormone insulin and glucagon, and, and among others. Sexual masturbation is regulated by testosterone and estrogen. Body temperature is regulated by estrogen stimulation hormone and free estrogen. The list is endless. We are asked to believe, however, the growth fat cells is essentially unregulated. The simple act of eating without any interference from any hormones will result in fat growth. Extra calories are dumped into fat cells like dump now into a sack. This assumption has already is being proven false. false. This assumption has been already proven false. New hormonal pathways and the regulation of the fat growth are being discovered all the time. Leptin is the best known hormone regulation of the fat growing, but addictonin, hormonal sensitivity, lipids, lipoproteins, lipase, and adipose triglyceride lipids might all play important roles. If hormone regulate fat growth and then obesity is a hormone, not a calorie disorder. Assumption 4. A calorie is a calorie. This assumption is the most dangerous at all. It's obviously true. Just like a dog is a dog or a desk is a desk, there's a many different kind of dogs in this. But the simplest statement that dogs is a dog is true. However, the really issue is this: all the calories equally likely to cause fat gain? All the calories are equal to likely to cause to fat gain? A calorie is a calorie. It implies the only important variable in weight gain is the total intake, and thus all the food can be reduced to calorie energy. But does a calorie of olive oil cause the same metabolic response as a calorie of sugar? The answer is yes. Obviously not. The answer is obviously not. Those two foods have many easily measurement differences. Sugar will increase the blood glucose level and provoke an insulin response from the pancreas. Olive oil will not. When olive when all olive oil is absorbed by small intestine and transported to the liver, there's no significant increase in blood sugar or insulin. The two different foods every vastly different metabolic and hormonal response. There's a five assumption. The key assumption is that the calorie reduction theory of weight loss have, have all been proved false. All been proved false. All calories are not equal likely to cause weight gain. The entire calorie obsession was a 50 years dead end. So we must begin again. What causes weight gain? How do we process food? What is a calorie? A calorie is simply you is not simply a simple unit of energy. Different foods are burned in a laboratory, and the amount the heat released is a measure to determine a calorie value for the food. All the food we eat contain calories. Food first enters the stomach when it is meets with the stomach acid and slowly released into small intestine. Nutrients are extracted through the journey through the small and large intestine. What remains is excreted as stools. What remains is as the stools. Proteins are broken down into building blocks. Amino acids, these are used to build and repair the body tissues. In the exercise is storage. Fats are incredibly absorbed into the body. Carbohydrates are broken down into building blocks. Sugar, protein, fats, and carbohydrates all provide calorie energy for the body. But different greatly is the metabolic process. The result in different hormonal stimuli. Calorie reduction is not primary factor of weight loss. What do what do we gain weight? What do we gain weight? The most common answer is the excess calorie intake cause obesity. But although the increase in obesity rates in the United States from 1971 to 2000, it was associated with an increase in daily calories consumption of roughly 1,000 to um, 20 calories. It's important to remember the correlation is not the causation. Furthermore, the correlation between weight gain and the increase in calorie consumption has recently broken down. Data from the National Health and Nutrition Examiner Association in the United States from 1999 to 2000 find no assumption between increasing calories consumption and weight gain, where obesity increased in the rates of 5.35% per year. Calorie intake remained visually stable. Women slightly increased their average daily intake from 1971 to calories in 1981, but men slightly decreased their from the British obesity epidemic largely ran parallel to North Americans, but once again, the assumption of weight gains when decreased calorie assumption does not hold true, and British experience neither increase the calorie intake or not that in fact related to obesity, which argues against a causal relationship. In fact, the numbers of calories ingested slightly decreased. Even as obesity rates increase, other factors, including the nature of those calories, had changed. We might imagine ourselves to be a calorie weight scale. Might think imbalance calories over time leads to accumulation of fat. We might imagine ourselves to be a calorie weight scale or maintaining the imbalance of calories over time leads to accumulation of fat. If calories out remain stable over time and then reduce calories nature reproduce weight loss. The field law of thermodynamic states that energy can either be created nor destroyed in a truly system. This law is often invoked to support the calorie in calories out model. Provided by Richard, Dr. Kerr, and Anton Novier are explained. This law ineffably law of physics. Energy taken in matter exactly equal to the number of calories leaving the system when food storage is in charge. Calories leave the system when food is used to fuel the body. To lower fat content, reduce obesity, one must reduce calorie taken in, increasing output by increasing activity in both. This is true wherever calories come from, pumpkins or peanuts or anywhere. The thermodynamic law of physics has minimal relevance to human biology, for the simple reason that human body is not a isolated system. Energy is constantly entered in living. In fact, the very act we most concerned about eating puts energy in the system. Food energy also is created from the system to for the stew. The stew. Having student who years thermodynamic university, I can assure that you can eat calories, no weight gain were mentioned ever in a single time. If we eat extra 1,000 calories today, not prevented the body to burning the extent from the heat. Or perhaps that extra calorie is as excreted as that too. Or perhaps the liver use the extra 1,000. We accept about calorie input into the system, but output is far more important. What, der- what determines the energy? What determines the energy output of the system? We suppose we consume 1,000 calories of chemical energy food in another day. What is the metabolic fate of those 1,000 calories, possibly other use included? Heat production. We certainly don't mind if energy is burned as heat or used to build a new protein. Um, do we do but we do mind if it is deposited as a fat. There's almost infinite numbers of ways that a body can dissipate exert energy instead of storing as their body fat. On the motor calories balance scale, we assume the fat gain or loss is essentially unregulated. The the weight gain and losses is under a constant control. But no system the body is regulated like that. Hormone tightly regulated every single system in the body. The thyroid, parathyroid, sympathetic system are under hormone control. So is body fat? The body actually has a multiple system to control the body weight. The problem with the fat accumulation is really a problem of distribution of energy. Too much energy is diverted to fat production as opposed to, say, increasing the body heat production. The vast majority of this energy expenditure is controlled automatically, with exertion being the only factor that is under our conscious control. For example, we cannot decide how much energy to expend on fat accumulation versus new bone formation. Since those metabolic processes are virtually impossible to measure, they are assumed to remain relatively stable. In particular, calories out is assumed not to change and respond to calories in. We presume the two don't independent variable. Let's take analogy. Consider the money that are that you earn in a year, all the money that you spend. Suppose you normally earn also spend 1,000 per year. If money in is now reduced to 1,000 per year, what you will happen to money out? Will you continue to spend per year? Probably you are not so stupid. As you as you quickly become bankrupt, instead you will reduce your money out to per year to balance the budget. Money in and money out are independent variables, since reduction of one will radically cause a reduction of the others. Let's apply the relation to obesity reduction.